4 hours of talks between the United States and Russia have ended without a breakthrough on the crisis in Ukraine. After the meeting in Paris, the US Secretary of State John Kerry said talks were constructive but demanded that Moscow pull back its forces from Ukraine's eastern border. Meanwhile, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Moscow had agreed to work with the Ukrainian government on a number of issues. A warning: Bridget Kendall's report contains some flash photography. Well, earlier I spoke to Dr. Katrina Volchok from the Center for Russian and East European Studies at the University of Birmingham here in the UK. She gave me her assessment of the talks between the US and Russia. But is that kind of fear justified in your view? I don't know what Russia wants out of those talks, but is there a possibility that they would withdraw those troops, because it's essentially what the US and the West and Ukraine are asking? Now, the Prime Minister of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has welcomed his AK party's convincing victory in the country's municipal elections. Mr. Erdogan said his rivals would pay a price for challenging his authority. James Reynolds reports from Istanbul. Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott says no time limit is being placed on the hunt for the missing Malaysia Airlines plane. Speaking at a news conference at Pearce Air Base in Perth, he said more than 500 personnel at the military site were involved in the search. He added that efforts to find out what happened to the 239 people on board were increasing, not decreasing, as time went on. And let's get the latest on the search operation for the Malaysian airliner. Phil Mercer joins me from the Garden Island Naval Base south of Perth. So Phil, tell us the latest. The search efforts have started again this Monday. The French President François Hollande is under pressure to change his government after his Socialist Party's heavy defeat in town hall elections on Sunday. Dozens of towns and cities that were controlled by the left fell to the right-wing opposition UMP party, but the Socialists did hold on to Paris. The far-right Nationalist Front has taken power in 10 towns, its biggest ever success in municipal elections. Here's Hugh Schofield. Stay with us on BBC News, still to come. This is BBC News. I'm Mariko Oi. The latest headlines. The latest major assessment on climate change has warned that humans are increasingly beginning to feel its full effect, which it warns will be severe, pervasive and irreversible. Speaking at the presentation of the report in Japan, the chairman of the International Panel on Climate Change said the risks were high and the time for action was now. Well, a short time ago, I spoke to our environment correspondent Matt McGrath in Yokohama about some of the details in the report. Also, we know that there are skeptics who say that climate change is all part of a natural change as well. In other news, 2 Spanish journalists who were held captive in Syria for more than 6 months. Thousands of domestic workers come to the UK each year. They're meant to provide help for wealthy overseas residents, but charities claim many are enslaved, abused and forced into domestic servitude. The British government has been accused of creating an equivalent of the Arab kafala system, which has been criticised for aiding exploitation. Divya Talwar reports. The actress Kate O'Mara, who starred in the television show Dynasty, has died at the age of 74. She made her name as Alexis Colby's scheming sister Cassandra in the American soap. Her former co-star Joan Collins spoke of her sadness, but also of the great fun they had on the Dynasty set. Ben Gagan reports. The actress Kate O'Mara, who has died at the age of 74. Now, a reminder of our top story. Those are the headlines, and now on BBC News, it's time for Hard Talk.